Hey guys, welcome to another Flutter tutorial. My name is Tensor. Today we're going to be looking at the various ways that we can style, transform, and manipulate widgets using other widgets and properties inside of Flutter. Because this entire tutorial will be mostly visual, I will have the emulator open the entire time so that you can see the changes as they happen. In our app, I've already built a fairly simple skeleton application. We have a material app, and inside of which we have a scaffold that has a container, and inside of that we have a center. Let's first take a look at text style. So we've already looked at the text widget quite a bit inside of this tutorial series, and we've also touched on the text style widget a little bit. Our text widget allows us to just put in a string, and then we have a property called style which takes in a text style widget. This text style widget then allows us to apply properties directly to the text. So in this case, we're putting in a font size, then a font weight, and then a font family. The font size is pretty straightforward. So we put in 24, so this is just 24 pixels. If I put in 42, the font gets quite a bit larger. Then we have our font weight, which refers to the thickness of the strokes of our font. And this goes from W100 all the way up to W900, with W100 being the thinnest font and W900 being the thickest font. We can also explicitly put in the font family, and there are a few that come pre-packaged with the Flutter Framework. This includes Georgia. We also have Roboto, and you can see this kind of pushes the text closer together and makes it a little bit more square. And Roboto is actually the default font for most Flutter applications. So if you do not specify the font family, then it will automatically default to Roboto in most cases. If you want to add new fonts, you can do so. And this is similar to adding a new image. You go into your pubspec YAML file, you put in a fonts section, and then you specify the family name. So in this case, they're putting in Schuyler, and then you point it towards the path of these fonts. And you can also specify the style for these particular font files, as well as the weight. So for instance, in this one, they've put in a normal file, so this is just the regular file. They put in the italic file, and then you preface the italic file with style italic. And then down here, they have this one, which is the normal file, and then they have a very bold one, and they put in the weight for this as 700. By putting in the weight and the font style, you then gain access to those particular values inside of your text style widget. Here we have font style, and we have two choices for our current font style, and that's regular and italic. I put in italic, and this changes it to an italic style text. If I put in normal, it just changes it back to the default type. If we wanted to get, say, Roboto underline text, we would put a new text file into an assets folder, and then we would point our pubspec YAML towards it and then put in the word underline so that it would be in the font style array. I've wrapped our text in another container and given that container a manual width and height as well as a color. This container has a property called alignment, and this allows us to align the children of the container in a specific way. So because I want it to be in the center of the container, I can use alignment.center, and this will align the text based on the vertical and the horizontal axis. If we remove the container alignment, the text widget itself has a text align property, and we can put text align center, but you'll notice that this doesn't center the text vertically, it only does it horizontally. If you want to center a block of text, typically you'll want to wrap it in a container or in a center. If you just want it to be horizontally justified or centered, you can then use text align and then the appropriate value. I'm going to introduce a new widget called a transform, and I'm going to wrap the container and the text in our transform. The transform widget requires a transform property, And you can see we have an error here because that transform property is currently null. This transform property takes in what's called a matrix 4 element. And let me realign the text into the center for this. The matrix 4 is just essentially a 4-dimensional matrix. So we can put in the identity matrix for our transform. And then we can cascade this with another method called rotate z and put in 100. And this will rotate the box 100 degrees along the z-axis. So you can see here the text and the actual container itself have both been rotated to a point where even the container itself is actually outside of the viewport. And because we're using a transform here, this isn't actually throwing an error and telling us that it's trying to render something that's not in the viewport. There are various other methods that we can apply to our transformation. For instance, if we want to scale up the text and the container, we can put in a scale factor. So I've put in scale by 1.4, and now the container is going off the screen on the right because it's too big. And we can scale it down by 0.4, and now it's really small and just kind of sitting in the top left. And we can even apply multiple different transformations to this transform. So here we're rotating about X, which is pushing the box upwards. I could go fairly crazy and it's sort of crunching the box along the Y-axis. If I put in Z, again, this is sort of inverting the text and rotating the box in a weird way. We can use the container box decoration gradient property to apply what's called a radial gradient, which will give our container a color gradient that's in a circular shape. So our first color being red and our second color being white. And it starts as sort of a darker red and then it expands out into a whiter red. We can also give our container a circular border radius, which you can't see that well because of the gradient. But if we give our container an actual border and then give that border a color, now you can see that the edges are rounded. And if we want to actually create a circle out of our container, we can do so by putting in a rather large number for circular. It's worth noting that all of these properties and all of the numbers in these properties are subject to animation rules as well. If you want to, for instance, make the box transform from a square to a circle, you could do this by manipulating this number and making it dynamic. Just as we did this with our height and our width, you could make the text also shrink and grow as well by changing the font size, and there are various other things that you can manipulate this way. If we want, we can also add what's called a box shadow, and this adds a shadow to our container. So this is kind of like CSS with HTML. We put in the color that we want the shadow to be. We can put in the offset, so how long the shadow will be in each direction with X and Y. So in this case we have it as 2.0 in the Y direction, and then the blur radius is rather short, so this one is actually quite dark. Whereas with our second box shadow, the blur radius is larger and so is the offset. If I increase the blur radius even more, you can see the actual shadow on the outside looks a little bit darker than it did before. And if I add something to the x-axis, it sort of shifts over to the right a little bit. So I can do the same for our other box shadow, and you can see the radius is here, and then the actual shadow starts around here. Like with our gradient, we can add multiple box shadows to a given object, and all of this is inside of the box decoration widget. Rather than making our container circular by using our border radius, we can just use what's called the shape property. And if we want this to be circular, we just put in shape and then we put box shape dot circle, and this makes our container into a circle. We also have box shape dot rectangle, which will make it into a rectangle and or square based on the width and the height. Alright, so now let's talk about the rich text widget and the text span widget. So here, instead of just a text widget, we have what's called a rich text widget, and then inside of that we have a text span, which has text that says styling stuff like before, and it looks exactly the same as how it was before, except all the styling was removed. Now the main reason for the rich text and the text span widgets are to make it so that you can style larger blocks of text with independent styling. So rich text and text span act like a widget tree, with rich text being the main node, and then everything sort of proliferates down to the children of our text span. And you can see our text span can have multiple text spans inside of it, and then of course each text span can have multiple children as well. If I want our text to change colors, I can put a style inside of the parent text span and give it a text style, put in colors white, and now all of our text is white. However, if I want to independently style the other text spans, I can do that as well. So even though our text style color for our main text span is still white, we have overridden it by putting in new colors for our individual text style. So the first one has colors black with opacity 0.5, which makes it a little bit more opaque, and then the second one has colors black with opacity 0.9. You can see this a little bit better if I remove the box shadow stuff. So here we just have this sort of transparent black text, and then we have this darker black text. The rich text widget is mainly made for large paragraphs of text, and then we can use these text spans like you would inside of an HTML document to apply multiple different pieces of styling to individual pieces of text that you want to change. So we can do things like, for instance, give this a font weight of W100 and this one a font weight of W900, and this still acts like one single widget or one single text despite it having multiple different pieces of styling on it. Our rich text widget also allows us to deal with text overflow. So in this case, we're saying, okay, we want the overflow to produce ellipses, and then we're giving our text spans a maximum line number of 3. So when our first text span, which says styling a bunch of widgets, goes over 3 lines, it ends with ellipses, and the same goes with our second widget. So stuff in Flutter goes off the screen and we have these ellipses here. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the box below. And if you disliked the tutorial, then by all means downvote it as much as you like. Have a good night.